I see fear as a balancing mechanism, like anything else, like our inner ear. It's a sense within our psyche that tells us what to do, it alarms us.
When I work with people around fear, what I find myself often doing is working with them around the humiliation they feel at being afraid.
I think personally that the fear that is created is a weapon being used against us to try and intimidate us.
When I talk to someone who is afraid or dealing with their fear, I try to remind them that fear is really part of our natural wisdom about our experience, and it needs to be paid attention to.
The fear is there for a good reason. There's something that you're afraid of. If it doesn't seem justified to you, let's dig back a little bit. Let's see where it started. Let's take a look at why this response is actually quite justified. People have a lot of shame attached to it, and so it's really helping them see that fear is an ally for them.
If someone is fearful, for instance, of going out into the night or something like that because of hate crimes, they often are erecting or experiencing a real tangible boundary within themselves.
Most times people come with terrible fear, it's already immobilized them to some degree. They've shut down around the event, they've disassociated from it, they've denied it.
I think that it spreads really rapidly, and people can, become victims or become prisoners in their own homes just because they're afraid to go out, and I think that that is letting them win.
Every year, thousands of lesbians and gay men are attacked, beaten, and harassed. The producers of these tapes felt it was time to do something about this. The Best Defense is designed to teach you about violence and about preparing yourself for the streets. To guide you through the tapes, the producers have asked Darrell Schaff, gold medalist at Gay Games 3 and 4, to introduce various exercises, self-defense moves, and the many guest instructors.
From Toronto, Canada, Karen Lee Leonard. From Boston, Massachusetts, Jim Poley. From Seattle, Washington, Pam Cooper. From San Francisco, California, Alan Wood. From Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Teresa Galetti. From Seattle, Washington, Madeline Coffin. From New York City, Abby Brown. And from the Netherlands, the legendary Wendy Dragonfire.
The most dangerous thing on the street is your own overconfidence.
Dealing with somebody who has nothing to lose.
Somebody who cannot be controlled by pain or doesn't feel pain and is looking to give you maximum pain.
The most dangerous thing on the street is denying that evil exists.
Going out on the street unprepared and unaware of your surroundings.
Bored teenagers that are looking for things to do, and they're probably going to find gay people as targets.
A crowd's the most frightening weapon on the street. A crowd out of control.
And for us, that's a scary thing as a community, and for me as a patroller, it's a scary thing because I have something to lose.
Welcome to The Best Defense. This is tape number 2, Surviving the Attack. Today we're going to talk about what happens during an attack and what you can do to protect yourself after an attack happens. We're going to begin with 6 basic exercises. These are designed to warm up your muscles and to teach you some simple self-defense moves. Our first exercise is a head roll. We're going to begin by doing what everyone does at the beginning of any self-defense move. We're going to say no. We're going to start simply by moving our head from side to side, shoulder to shoulder. Just let your head relax. Very simple. The object is not to strain your neck. The object is simply to stretch the muscles. Now let's change it. We're going to say yes. So straight forward, straight back. Drop your chin to your chest, drop your head back. Forward and back, forward and back.
No matter who you are, even if you're an old lady in a wheelchair, you can still defend yourself. And what we've got to do as teachers is try to help those people. Okay, well, I am limited. I've got one hand. Well, what can I do? Because I don't care. Even if I was down to my teeth, man, I'd fight back.
Our next exercise is used to stretch the shoulders. It's a very simple exercise like pushing a shopping cart. All we're going to do is push forward and return the motion, and push forward and return the motion. Now, first, make this very simple. Don't try to stretch too far. Good. Really easy. Push and reverse, and push and reverse. Now each time extend that motion just a little bit farther, both to the front and to the rear. Good. Keep working on that. Good. Now we're going to change it slightly by adding our body. Each time we push, we're going to step forward. Each time we pull our arms back, we'll step back to the standing position, like this. Forward and back, and forward and back, and forward and back, and forward and back. Good. See if you can time the push so that when you land on your foot, the push is at its farthest point from your body. And push and back, push and back. Good. 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 Try to make sure that the body weight is over the foot each time. Good. Make sure the elbow motion is done with the same amount of energy as the push forward. Excellent.
The way I would say no is with the soft, controlling tone, as if I was speaking to a child. Not out of control, not angry.
Our next exercise has to do with the waist. This is a waist twist, and it's a real simple exercise, back and forth, the feet stay on the floor. Everyone does this. We're going to add a little variation to it. We're going to bring our hands up chest high, keep our elbows pointed out to the sides, and we're simply going to bring the elbow all the way to the front if we can. Now, this may be a little too much rotation for some people. Start and do what you can. Back and forth. Back and forth. Excellent. Again, if we start slow, extend each time a little farther, then the stretch will be better. Good. It's very important that we keep this chest high. Let's go a little bit faster. Good. All right, working on that for a second on your own.
My personal opinion is that yes, I think that they should be able to fight back. The distinction for me is that I can't tell you if you ask me, should I fight back if I'm attacked in this circumstance or that situation? I don't know. That's going to be up to you and your judgment at the time. But I think that it's critically important that you feel that you have the ability and the right to fight back.
Our next exercise is designed for the rotator cuffs of the shoulders. This is a simple exercise, but it gets a little strenuous if you're not careful. So let's start very simple. First, big circles. Easy, nice big circles. Just let the hands relax. Continue that circle around from the back to the front. Good. Now what we're going to do is bring our elbows in slightly, and we're going to make that circle just a little bit smaller. you'll almost immediately feel a difference in how it strains the muscles in the shoulder. If this hurts a lot, please stop doing it. Just rotate. Excellent. All right. Now we're going to do exactly the same motion, but we're going to reverse it. So again, let's start really big. Let the arms move in big circles to the back. Good. Big circles. And again, start bringing those elbows in. There you go. Make those circles slightly smaller. Slightly smaller. Bring them into the body. That's it. All right, let's just work on this for a moment. Arm circles back. Good. And arm circles front. Reverse the motion. Start with a big circle and bring it in. Good. Excellent. Excellent. Good.
I think that for an individual, if they are capable of fighting back and responding in a way that's appropriate physically, then they can do that. But I think that there are also other ways of fighting back metaphorically, by doing advocacy work, by working around police training, by contacting the media, by starting a neighborhood group. There are all kinds of ways to fight back other than fighting back.
All right, this exercise is perhaps a little more physical, but it's designed to warm up the lower part of your body. All we're going to do is simply bring up our knee. Very simple. It's like taking a large step. Don't even think about making it a knee strike so much as just picking up the knee, making it a big step. There we go. Just like an aerobics class, be on the Stairmaster. Excellent. Now with all the exercises, we're going to stretch it a little farther. So try to bring the knee a little bit higher without throwing off your balance. It helps to lean a little into the knee. Good. Excellent. All right. Now we're going to add one more thing. We're going to add the top half of our body to the knee motion. We're simply going to reach up and bring the hands down to the knee. Good. Remember to lean into the knee slightly. Keep your balance forward. The object here is not how fast you can do it, but how completely you can do it. Excellent.
You have to keep your eyes open and look to see what's going on. But once you see what's going on, don't go over and test it. If you keep hitting the alligator on the nose, he will bite you.
Our last exercise is a little more physical in nature, but it's an important one later on. We're going to try to jump from one foot to the other. We're going to do that by lifting up one foot and pushing off with the other one. Now we can do this in any direction. It can go forward, it can go backwards, it can go to the side, it can go to the other side. It can go to a diagonal, it can go anywhere you want it to go. The object is to not jump up high, but rather to jump wide or long. So let's just play with this for a minute. Some of you will get it right away. Some of you will have a lot of trouble with this. It's all right. Let's try. Jump, 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 jump. Doesn't matter what pattern you're doing, just practice any pattern. Now, because this is a self-defense tape, let's take a little more defensive mode and keep our hands up the whole time we do this. Okay? We're just going to jump, jump. Try moving in different directions. You'll be surprised. They don't all have to go forward and back. They can go back and back and back and forward and side and cha-cha-cha. No, that's another thing. All right. Good, good. A little more strenuous, but you'll see why this is important later on. This is what you've just learned.
The answer is very definitely yes, for a couple of reasons. One is that we've got to begin to change the attitudes of the police and the general public about gays and lesbians. They're citizens. They should enjoy the full rights of any citizen in the country.
You should always report violence when it happens to you. Doesn't mean that anything's going to be done about it, but the more you report it, the more chance you have of in the future of things being done.
It's not a matter of if you report, it's when you report, and it's when you report to whom. Oftentimes people who've been traumatized need to report it to themselves first because they've been in denial it happened.
Oh yes, most definitely, but I think it needs to be regulated by somebody other than just the police. I mean, somebody needs to regulate them as well, because without that we can't make sure that we're getting protected as equally as everyone else is.
And being a black person from Chicago, I've seen a lot of things.
And the bars in Chicago would be raided by the police, and you know, it was virtually illegal to be gay.
Most cops really try hard to be fair and treat people equal, but I also have to say that there are a few who don't. And unfortunately, I think those few tend to give the rest a pretty bad name.
Survivors are looking for justice when they go into the legal system. They want somebody to go to jail, they want someone to pay, they want something back, and that's why they're reporting. And the reality is that most hate crimes are not prosecuted as hate crimes, that sometimes they're prosecuted as physical assaults or sexual assaults. But even within that context, unless there's another witness, unless there's a whole variety of things that can happen, it's not automatically that I get hurt and somebody goes to jail. It doesn't happen like that.
Part of standing up for your rights is not only defending yourself physically, but making sure that the police are aware that the crimes occurred and that you expect to have something done about it.
Let's look again at our warm-up exercises. This time, let's talk about the arm circles coming forward and the reverse motion arm circles going backwards. Now, obviously, we're creating a lot of force by using centrifugal movement. So the force is going to be at the end of our hand. So where we're going to look to strike are some of the things that stick out, like his nose, his chin, his chest. So from here, as we're coming forward, we're going to strike here and downward. The secret to this is to strike high on the nose and pull downward. This is going to control your opponent better. So as the hand comes around, it will strike downward. If you miss the nose, it's not a big deal. You can strike to the chin. The problem with this area is that his teeth may get in the way and you could cut your hand. So the chin is not a very good target if you have other options. But if you miss the nose for some reason, the chin makes a perfectly fine target. The third in the series, if you miss the nose and you miss the chin, would be the chest. Very important when you strike the chest to strike downward. So as the circle comes in, here, strikes downward. The motion does not change from the nose, the chin, the chest. All of those motions are exactly the same. The targets simply change depending on what is available to you at the time. All right? So let's go over it one more time. This is centrifugal force moving in the circle, comes here, strike. Now, can we strike with both hands? Absolutely. Strike. All right? We may not want to do that because we may not want to tie up both of our hands. I generally just use one hand. Let's change the angle slightly of how we're coming in. This is a circle we're talking about moving on a vertical plane. What if we move on a horizontal plane? Then we have temples to strike. So we're going to do the same thing. This is the same circle coming in as this, only here, and we're going to strike to the temples. Again, I'm using the heel palm strike because there's lots of meat on your heel palm, and it won't hurt you nearly as much as it'll hurt him. This can be done one-handed, strike. It can be done two-handed, strike. Okay? The motion is exactly the same. Let's add something to something we've already learned. If we do this circle, strike the nose, then let's do something to distract him. Use the hand like a claw and rip down the face. One more time. Strike, tear. This is a distraction technique. This will allow you to change where he's looking, perhaps push him away and leave. All right? One more time. The circle comes around, strikes, rips. The rip is simply letting your fingers relax and be open. They'll automatically cross his eyes. All right, let's reverse this motion now and do the same thing. This shows you how it's going to work forward. Where's it going to go if it comes this way? Well, the first and most obvious point is the groin. This reverse motion from here, do it with this hand, okay? The circle gives you the centrifugal force at the heel, and we strike. Now, we can add the same claw we had here, down here, and we do this. Okay? Now that's a little something you may or may not wish to try. This is the strike. It's exactly the same. The reverse motion of the circle here. Let's see it on a different plane. This person grabs a hold of us. This elbow is a very vulnerable spot because when you hyperextend the elbow, it causes a great deal of pain. All we're going to do is take the reverse motion of this, and we're going to bring it up underneath his elbow. That's the only thing we're going to do. I'm going to stop him from taking this hand away. I'm simply going to do that upward motion, the reverse of that arm circle, and when he grabs a hold of me, here, okay, I'm going to lift him right up. That's going to change his mind quickly. As you can see, I have his balance. Now from here, I can do all sorts of things. I can pull him down, add that push, anything we want to do. Good. All right, everybody stand up. Let's try a couple of these things. These are arm circles. Remember the targets: the nose, the chin, the chest, the temples, the groin. If you're going to do this one, be very careful with the elbow. Very careful. All right, let's try that for a few times. There we go. And down. Pin and reverse. Excellent. Yes. Okay. Left hold. Step in and pop. Good. Just turns his body away and takes him down. Good. 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 All right. Guy grab the hold of you. As a man, when we grow up, we're expected somehow to know how to fight. Where that knowledge is supposed to come from, I'm not exactly sure. As gay men, I think we feel even more oppressed because not only do we feel like we don't know how to fight, but we're told constantly that we don't know how to fight because we're gay men. We're sissies, we're faggots. We're not able to fight, we're not able to defend ourselves. We have to be victims, and we buy right into it.
You know, I don't think that proportionally there are more gay people who can't fight back than there are straight people when they are attacked who can't fight back.
I think there's a big difference between the way men and women fight. I think women tend to approach it from an emotional standpoint where they probably would try to de-escalate, probably try to talk, may feel as though physically it's not worth having the confrontation because they'll lose, and so often find other routes, whereas men have to win.
And then you have to win the fight. You lost. Winning is avoiding the fight. And that you do by deciding very early, am I going to leave? Am I going to stay and not look at the guy? Or if he keeps going, am I just going to deck him?
Most people who are out to assault you, not just to take your wallet, but to assault you because of your sexuality, are cowards. That's why they're assaulting you in the first place, and that's why it takes more than one of them to assault you. That's why it takes 5 of them to beat you up in a dark alley.
Because an attacker is weaker, giving them an opportunity to save face is often a way to survive. And when you survive, you win.
This is a defense against somebody grabbing you from behind. And what's nice about this defense is it gives you time to determine whether or not it's a dangerous attack or somebody playing with you. You bring your hands up in a natural defensive movement, which you might do anyway. You step toward the person as you turn your hips, not your arms, but your hips. And then look where we are. We're right in position to use that push. One of the most important things that you need to know is you don't turn and push with your arms. You turn and use your hips to push the person away. And then you'll be strong no matter how small you are. Whenever you're in a situation, if you can't think of a specific way to defend yourself, remember these principles. Where the head goes, the body follows, and do something that controls the head. The thumb is the weakest part of the hand. When somebody's grabbing a hold of you, find their thumb and use that as your exit for getting out of that grab. And also remember that the unexpected works better than the expected. Mm-hmm. Oh. There are 2 types of bear hugs. One is where your arms are pinned, and the other one is where your arms are free. And believe me, you want your arms free if it's possible. From here, you have to start using your senses. You feel their head is somewhere. Where is it? You find it with your closest hand. You grab their hair, and you can pull around and down. Or if they're bald, you just grab their neck or their ear. And you pull around and down. As soon as you can use your other hand, you do. You drop them on the ground. You either do another technique, a stomping kick or a kick, or you just run away, whichever is most effective. If you think they're going to get up again, make it harder for them to get up. And then run away. You can use your voice. Stay there. Don't try it again. This is a defense against a bear hug where your arms are trapped. Your first reaction is going to be fear. They've grabbed their own hands. They're strong. Grab their hands. This has a twofold effect. One is it helps you keep your balance, and the second is it makes them feel psychologically that they're losing the balance of power. Take a nice deep breath. Shift your weight to one of your legs. Bring your leg up, kick back to the knee, smash down on the foot. Their arms now will probably be looser, and you have two choices. You can either try and just walk away, or if that doesn't work, bring your arms up, turn, and use your push. And don't forget, when you're being the partner, you should act like you don't know what the defense is going to be every single time.
So often that as gays and lesbians, we're isolated from what heterosexuals would call a support system. I mean, oftentimes when we go to our parents concerned about some harsh treatment we've endured or some actual violence, they don't know how to help us because they want us to change, which is unchangeable.
One of our most physical warm-up exercises was this. First we did the knee, and then we added hands to it. Let me show you how this works in the street. Obviously, the first target you're going to see is the groin. Now think of this not as a knee, but as a big step. If someone's pulling you towards them and you simply take a big step, gosh, look what happens. Take a big step. Okay, now she's a little shorter, so she missed my groin. So let's talk about what other targets you might have, okay? Obviously, the groin is a good target. Angie's a little shorter, so she's going to need to find something else. The muscle of the leg is a terrific target. This is for if you don't want to really hurt someone, but you want to disable them for a few minutes or make it so that it's difficult for them to attack you back or chase you. The muscle is a great place. So let's try this. Just bring your knee into the muscle of my leg, right there. Good. Try it again, okay? Good. All right? That's going to do two things. It's going to knock my balance off. It's also going to give me a great deal of pain right here. So this is a good alternative for Angie because of her height. Now, if I happen to be to the side of Angie, and I've got a hold of her for some reason, but I'm turned, there's another obvious one that's going to be great for her height, and that's the knee here. 1 point. This strike to the knee, directly to the side, is extremely dangerous. The possibility of permanent injury is very good. This is the last resort. All physical activity and confrontation is a last resort. So let's try it slowly. She's going to hit me right directly through the knee. There we go. Now right here. There we are. Now go through me. Same. There we go. Now see what that's doing? Try it again. Yes. Excellent. All right? One more time. Yes. Good. Right straight through me. Okay. Let me continue this idea. I'm around here. I'm fighting with someone, and Angie wants to try to help that person. She needs to take me down. This is a mechanical thing right here. If you hit me in the back of the knee, I'll lose my balance. If she uses her knee and does the same thing, it's going to cause me to lose my balance. Now let's add the hands. Remember when we did the exercise, first we did the knee, then we added the hands, all right? The hands work well because we want to take this person and change their height. We want to do something with their head. So as we do this, here, boom, the same targets work. So let's try this. This time all I want you to do is grab the upper part of my body, pull me toward you, and do any one of the targets, okay? Good, excellent, right into the muscle of the leg, okay? Something else, I'm here, doesn't matter. I've got a hold of you, but I'm turned slightly. See if you can make this work. Grab a hold of me somehow high, pull me down, and do the knee. There, yes, very good. Same thing from the back. This time you're going to pull me down and kick out my knee at the same time. But what happened to the knee? There we go, there we go. See, now I can't stand up. If you just try to pull me down, I'm stronger than she is. She doesn't want to use strength, she wants to use leverage. She's going to take advantage of the weapon we're talking about and the leverage of pulling my balance into a different line. Okay, one final thing, just as a shot. For some reason, you're fighting and your opponent bends over, okay? The other place the knee works very well is here. This is a devastating shot. Again, this is for if you're in the street and someone's trying to kill you, there are no rules. But you need to be very careful with this shot because you can obviously break their nose, do very severe damage. Okay. By the same token, if you are grappling with your opponent and they're bent over, you can pull them down and do the same kind of shot to the stomach, which is much less devastating. You can do the same kind of shot to the chest, which is less devastating, and still causes a tremendous reaction in them and a lot of violent pain. All right? So let's review what we just learned. I grab a hold of her, and she's got lots of options. Because of her height, she's probably not going to try to get to my groin. She's going to go to one of the muscles of my leg. All right? So she's going to grab me, and boom, excellent. Okay? I'm to the side. She's going to grab me, and my knee is out. Good. For some reason, I'm in front of her. I'm fighting with someone else, and she takes me down there. Excellent. All right. We're not going to practice the head pull. Just know that it works. All right? Let's try that. Grab this guy. Big time. Yes. Good. Excellent. Excellent. Good. 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 Before we leave this particular subject, let me do one final thing. Frankie, could I have you for a minute? We're going to put a number of things together. We've been talking about a bunch of different warm-up exercises. This guy comes in and attacks me. What are my options? We've learned how to do a push and the reverse action. We've learned about kneeing him to a variety of different locations. We've learned about circular motions. Okay? Let's try some of this together. He's going to come in on me. Now, I'm going to first take a circular motion. Boom. I'm going to distract him. Boom. I'm going to take him down. Boom. I'm going to drive him backwards. All right? This is all very simple. Now watch. I'm going to change the reaction to that. So it's the reverse motion of that knee going up, and I'm going to come down right here and take him right to the ground. Now, this is a little advanced for most people, but I wanted you to see that by putting these very, very, very simple combinations together, you can create complicated combinations that will help defend you in the street.
When somebody grabs you from close by, you can grab them and lift your knee up. But if somebody's running at you to grab you, you don't want to wait till they run over you. You want to just step aside, lift your knee, and let them hurt themselves on your knee. Boom, and then you can always use your push. People always wonder, is this really going to work? One of my students came to me, and she said, I've been attacked. I couldn't remember one single thing you taught me except eyes, throat, knees, eyes, throat, knees. And I hit him in the throat, and he dropped to the ground, and I ran away. And I said, that's exactly what self-defense is all about.
I like to teach a method I call the 4 A's. The first A is avoidance. Naturally, if we had the opportunity to avoid violence, we wouldn't have any of the problems we're facing today. My second A, though, comes as a surprise to many people. It's acceptance. If we don't learn to accept violence, if we don't understand that violence is happening to us and will happen to us, then we're never going to get beyond this problem. It's a fact that hostage-taking is so easy because especially intelligent people have a very difficult time accepting that violence will happen to them. My third A is attitude. If we don't change our attitude, if we don't stop being victims and having a victim mentality, again, we'll just never get beyond the problem. And my last A is ability. And ability is a very important thing. That's hopefully what you're working on now by watching these tapes. It's only if we get ability that we can improve ourselves and our plight. If you learn nothing else in these tapes except the fact that you never, ever want to be in a confrontation, then the tapes have been successful.
In judo, the basic premise is maximum efficiency with minimum effort. In the classic judo sense, we practice with other people our own rank and size. And the first thing I'd like to show is the basic judo technique, the classic judo technique, which is osotogari, where two people together, I take him off balance and throw him solidly to the floor. That's the classic. That's somebody who knows what they're doing against somebody who knows what they're doing. In a street self-defense situation, that wouldn't happen. But the practical application of this particular move is if someone is dragging you away or taking you forcibly and doesn't believe that you offer much resistance to them. Thanks, Jim. Alan, could I borrow somebody a little taller, a little larger for this? Okay, if somebody real big decides that I'm not much of a threat to them, and they've decided to take me someplace else, and I know that going to that someplace else is going to cause me physical danger, then I'll use that same idea of maximum efficiency, minimum effort to let him throw himself. So what I really just want to do here is allow him to move a little faster than he suspects he's moving. Okay, so Alan, if you grab me, as he's pulling me away, I just rush him and move away from him. Okay, so as he's dragging me away, he's very confident, and he's taking me because of his superior size and strength. As he pushes forward this way, I stop resisting, and I allow him to do more of what he was doing, which makes him fall down. He stumbles. At this point, I push down and move away.
The most frightening weapon on the street is a thinking human being. There are people out there who are deliberately deciding to hurt other people. And regardless of what weapon they use in their hands or whether they just use their bare fist, the fact that they are thinking about doing it, that they are committed to hurting someone else, is the most dangerous thing we face.
The natural reaction when somebody pushes you is this. You go out of balance. Everybody does it. A better reaction is to just drop to the ground, swing your legs back onto your side, and then you're in position.
Let's take a look at what position will protect you best if you're on the ground. Now, you may have fallen, you may have been knocked down, you may just be on the ground when your opponent comes towards you. Rather than being flat and unable to move, we want to pull our legs in, pull our hands in, and move to our side. This will give us the most flexibility. Resting your weight on the forearm, this hand is here for protection, this leg is here to possibly kick or defend yourself. The same position works on the other side, or you can move from side to side if your opponent is continuing to move. Remember, the most important position is to pull in your weapons and be ready to use them to strike or protect yourself, not to be flat and unable to move.
Defending yourself with your hand, kicking with your legs. You can roll to the other side and kick with your legs. If they start to move around, you can use all sorts of kicking to keep them away from you. Or if they get close, boom, you insert your foot, your underneath foot into their ankle, your upper leg into the back of their knee, and you scissor them to the ground, and you always got that last little technique. Roll away and get away. Another thing that sometimes happens when somebody pushes you is you're not really ready to just drop to the ground. Your natural reaction is to grab them, to grab anything to help you keep your balance. That's fine. Now drop to the ground, insert your leg between their legs, and flip them over. You can kick again, roll away, and get away. When we're dealing with self-defense, we often think about what the attacker can do to us, but rarely about what we are going to be doing to the attacker. In order to help ourselves decide how to respond to an attack, we use the self-defense ethic, and that is contain rather than hurt, hurt rather than maim, maim rather than kill, and kill rather than be killed.
Hey, it's trick time again. It's trick time again. We're having too much fun with this. This is actually something developed by the medical profession to test people who are unconscious to see if they're still alive. It creates a tremendous body reaction. It happens right here on the sternum. There are lots of nerves in this flat little bone part. You can feel it. Everyone has one on their chest. There are a lot of nerves that run right across that. So what we do is we take some object. It's either a knuckle, might be these knuckles, could be these knuckles. It needs to be something hard, and we need to simply stick it into that little section right there against that bone and just rub up and down right here. And the reaction is instantaneous. All right, let's do it. Let me show it very slowly. This is the spot right here, okay, right here. It's where his chest comes together. It's where the sternum is. This is that hard bone right there. That's about how big you need to be in the position of rubbing it. right here, and it just rubs up and down, and you need to press into his chest at the same time. And that's our trick for the day. All right, this is another trick. If you're in the street and you're in a fight, things that, people grab a hold of all sorts of things. People love to grab a hold of your hair. Now, people have very strong necks, and even though they have long hair in the back, Renee's got pretty short hair, but I'm going to get a good grip on her hair. If you can take a look at this. I've got a good, strong grip on her hair. Now, I'm going to try to move her, and I want her to fight me and move forward, okay? Now, that may hurt her a little bit, but she's got at me. I can't do anything with her. This is the trick. Hair in the back has very few nerves. Hair on the top has lots of nerves. So if I want to move her, I grab her by the top of the head. Boom! 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 She'll go anywhere I want her to go. All right? Little difference?
Yep.
Okay, so the secret of the trick is to not grab the hair in the back, but to grab the hair on top. Now, obviously, if they have a shaved head, this doesn't work. Obviously, if they're bald, it doesn't work. But if you can get a hold of that hair, go for the top. Not the front even, but right up on the top. Because once you move her head, you can control her. If I want her to come forward, she'll come forward. If I want her to go backwards, she'll go backwards. I want her to go sideways, she'll go sideways. Trust me, she'll go anywhere I want her to go. Thank you.
My story begins on a spring night. I was walking home from a bar, it's a gay bar, within a residential area, which is in my neighborhood, a residential neighborhood. It's the only gay bar in that area. I was walking home a little after midnight, and about a block away from the bar, there was a man who had been observing me, and he had been at some sort of party. There was some sort of party going on. He was about 6 feet tall and 180 pounds. And about a block after I had passed him, I was attacked by a man who evidently had been following me. He came up from behind and grabbed me. Not sure what his motives were. I think he was both trying to rob me and also beat me up. I slipped away from him, and then he seemed to become more infuriated, and it was very clear that he really wanted to hurt me, and really came at me very hard. He was swearing at me, calling me faggot, and that kind of thing. And I think if he could have, he would have seriously hurt me, injured me as much as he could have. Anyways, I defended myself, and luckily quite well. He was alone, he didn't have a weapon, and he'd been drinking, so I beat him up and got him on the ground and started choking him. And then I said, "Are you ready to call it quits?" And he said, yes. And so he got up and went one way, and then I decided to get up and went the other way. I broke one of my, the bones in my hand punching him. So that was one of the only thing that happened in the fight to me. Initially, my feeling was really kind of one of disbelief. It's very clear to me that if I hadn't defended myself, that I would have been hospitalized, I would have been very severely injured by this man. He clearly wanted to hurt me very badly, and it was unbelievable that somebody would attack me for being a gay man that close to home. It just was something that I expected to happen elsewhere in the city. I called the police, and this was several hours later that I called the police. So I was kind of stunned, and it took me a little bit to realize exactly what had happened. I wish I had called them immediately, because by that time it was too late, and nothing could be done in terms of apprehending this person. It's bad to let these people get away so that they can strike out at somebody else. The wonderful thing is when I realized I was in that kind of grave danger, there was this huge rush of adrenaline. So it was good. It was actually fairly empowering. I certainly wasn't scarred by this. I don't do things tremendously differently. I'm not going to stay away from areas out of fear. So I didn't want that to happen. In fact, the next day I went back to that very same area just because I did not want to let any sort of fear affect me in terms of how I led my life.
You fucking fag! And remember, if you're in the street, don't be strong, don't even be brave, be smart, because that's the best defense. We hope you've enjoyed Tape 2, Surviving the Attack. We encourage you to watch all 3 tapes in the Best Defense series. Tape 1, Surviving the Streets, interviews experts, teaches simple, effective techniques for escape, and of course, shows you some of our favorite tricks. Tape 3, Surviving the Weapons, takes a close look at what weapons are in the streets and what you can do to protect yourself against them. The Best Defense video series was created in response to the ever-increasing problem of hate crimes and assault. Our instructors are actively conducting classes in their own hometowns and have begun reaching into major metropolitan areas with classes, seminars, and training sessions.